Jumbo Africa. Well, we're back again with episode 14 now. Hey, time 14. Is flying. Episode 14 is so. Okay. And as you're saying, you are the recruitment here. What's that song again?
Just the two of us. Bill with us.
Hey, the evergreens, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
The young man behind camera, he has got no clue what's happening.
You know what? Because we're football people and we're coming live here, coming from the Calabash. And now you've seen and you've read the statement Zizo from Stadium Management South Africa about something good happening here. Yeah. Something good happening. So just bear with us. If you just hear some noise, well, that's the noise that. But I can tell you that very soon, we'll be bringing you some visuals. We'll be bringing you some pictures.
Bertu Khobola is cooking there.
The Calabash. Yeah, but what an interesting week we're having of football. Whoa. And I can tell you that in our pod today, we've got plenty to talk about. The CAF Champions League, Pyramids, man. The Miguel Cardoso issue, Jose Riveiro getting unveiled at Ahly. Bafana Bafana is in camp. They are playing against Tanzania and also Mozambique. Will take you through that camp as well. The legal matters that are threatening
drama.
Even the playoffs to be delayed. I mean, I've just been on a call now. There are more cases that are coming in.
So in South Africa, at the end of the season, lawyers make more money than the players.
Yeah.
What a joke.
And you've just caught a glimpse of what was happening in Parliament. I should be there. And also, Morocco, Zizo, you saw the matches. Morocco is hosting Africa. Now, we must not complain when Morocco...
You must beat.
You know?
Yeah, you must beat. I mean, this country has
but also
not
it's
shown
the influence.
Appetite. Yeah.
It's the influence
that
as
they
well.
Have, yeah.
You know?
So, it's important that our country must beat for things. We've been quite on that space. I think we've discussed it in one of the earlier shows that we have had that... for some reason, government does not seem to have an appetite of hosting big tournaments or big events, especially for sports, which is very interesting as to what is the end game. But yeah, it's very interesting. Morocco is taking everything now. And as you're saying, with hosting all these events is influence. They get to influence.
I've got more to say on this because I want to go through those matches because when you see the list of those matches that are taking place there, it's no. But I want us to start with the CAF Champions League outcome. What's your take? It's been 2-3 days now. We were mourning and everything. And did you go to the airport yesterday?
No.
Why?
They say you don't roll the rally carpet for mediocrity.
Finally.
Where's the trophy?
Finally.
Where's the trophy? I would have gone to the airport in Egypt to welcome Pyramids there.
But what did you make of Sundowns' performance, especially in the second leg?
Sometimes in cup finals you just have to do you have to do enough. They didn't do enough. There's a few things. First, over the 2 legs, I think we can't run away from it. The senior players didn't come to the party. I go to Loftus, the first leg. That goal should not have been a goal if they defended very well. That Sundowns defense is a Bafana defense, largely. Senior experienced players. If you don't win your games at home, you're always going to be in trouble. You go to the second leg. Kranke gonna make an assist for the guy to score a goal. Again, a big player doesn't come to the party. You look at the first half, I felt Allende went missing, Themba went missing, Riveiro went missing. Generally, the whole team didn't function properly, and you need to have a good start, especially in a match where you had to score a goal. And then coming back to the issue of the coach, there were changes, but they were not changes which affected the match. Substitutions, there's a lot of questions around substitutions. But the big one, I think, is on both legs. He missed an opportunity of maybe tapping into the experience of Themba Zwane. There was a time at Loftus where in the second half you felt the stage was set for Themba to come in and just feed off the full stadium to put pressure on the opposition. You are leading, and later in the match when he's there, you are in control. You can close the game. It didn't happen. In a second leg where the team was a little bit under pressure, there was a chance for Mshishi to come through and try and do his own thing. He failed to do that, and I feel the Sundowns fans would have been a little bit more forgiving if they had won the match but having played Mshishi there, because we don't know what would have happened even if Mshishi played. So there were just a lot of things around that match which didn't go Sundowns' way, and we have to give credit to Pyramids. I mean, they've had a fantastic competition, near perfect group stages, and near perfect knockout stages. They did what they had to do in the final. Got to get a draw away from home, win at home, and they're the champions. So Sundowns will regret. There will be a lot of regret. The second star was loading, but definitely it was not to be. I just don't know from your side as where you were sitting. What did you make of the whole thing? Because you also watched the match closely.
So very sad. Very sad because I was so sure about Sundowns. You speak about Mshishi.
Yeah.
Now you must understand that Mshishi was out for a very long time.
Yeah.
And but he came back, and we know that an ACL is a very serious injury, and so when this issue of the ACL happened, you expect that maybe he'll come back towards the end of the season or the season is done, but he came back and played, and he had some serious minutes on his legs. You understand? So I understand that people are saying no, maybe he was not ready. He forced the own goal against Al Ahly at Cairo International Stadium.
Yes.
I was there in that venue, packed. He forced, and another player could have played that ball differently. You understand? So now you don't tell me that he's not been ready because he played in games preceding at the final.
Yeah,
and on top of that, there's a player like Lebu Motiba who didn't play at all,
and then he
out for a
comes
very
on.
long time, and he comes and gets game time. And before we proceed, so I just want to go to these two clips. In fact, we combine the two clips. The answer of the coach to the question of Mthokozisi at Loftus about why he didn't play Mshishi, when most people felt he could have come in and retained ball possession and took off the pressure from the team and possibly even create another chance and extend the lead. We combine that with the response from the second leg.
I have to manage Themba like all the other players. Everybody wanted to be part of this match for sure. The decisions we did was in order to keep the balance on the team. We thought it were the best ones. It's very, very beautiful football, or very ugly at the same time, because 1 second or 10 seconds in the last minute of the game changed the way you all think about us and the decisions that we did. Because if we had not suffered that goal, everybody say that the coach was fantastic, that he didn't touch the team, he kept the team in balance, he made the best choices. We are under judgment according to the results we get. And it was one play, one dangerous action they had in the box, because second half we condoled it. Sometimes more with the ball in the first 25 minutes, much more with the ball than hanging or organizing ourselves to cope with the conditions that were on the pitch. We suffered on goal, and that changed the opinion of everybody. That's clear what it is. We just have to hang on it and keep the boys motivated, push for the second leg, and that's it. I totally understand what kind of answer you want or you are looking for, but it's not time to speak about individual performance of players. This group is very qualified, has a lot of quality players, and obviously Themba is one of them.
Zizo? I mean, from what I'm hearing from the coach now, you can hear that the coach is defensive on this issue. Firstly, Zizo, we know that Themba Zwane is not getting any younger. You understand? And I don't think anyone is calling for Themba Zwane to play 90 minutes of football.
To start matches and, Yeah.
But, and I don't want to compare, I know we can bring in a lot of, if you can look at how instrumental was Modric? At what age?
For Real Madrid.
For Real Madrid to even win the UEFA Champions League title. For me, and unfortunately, I'm speaking to someone like you who's covering Sundowns, who's got a lot of insight on these issues. And I don't know is it really the issue about somebody somewhere trying to phase out Mshishi here?
Yeah, I mean, you remember one of the sticking points with Coach Lani leaving Sundowns. I think Mshishi was also in the mix. There was an issue of Bongani Zungu. There was an issue of Themba Lodge. There was an issue of how the young players must come through. So my sense from a distance and also speaking to people around the club is that it is the technical, the sporting director, Flemingberg, and the coach. I just don't think that they understand the emotive issue of Mshishi and what Mshishi means to Sundowns, what Mshishi means to South African football, what Mshishi means to the players inside of that dressing room.
I heard that apparently they were not even sure about even extending this contract until...
That must have been an executive decision, surely. It was not. I'm sure if Flemingberg had his way, Mshishi will be out of that of Klurkop already by now, because I don't think he believes in the guy. He feels he's too old to be playing for Sundowns. I mean, if you speak to any Sundowns player now and to ask them who they want to play with in that Sundowns team, all of them will tell that they want to play with Themba Zwane. Is the influence that he has in that team. Is the captain of the side, So I think the lack of understanding from the technical members as to how or what he means to the group. I think that's where they get it wrong, because as you say, we are really not saying that he must play every minute. But here and there, I mean, even with Coach Rulani, he was very careful on how he uses him, because he can't play 90 minutes all the time. Already at that time, Coach Rulani was using him sparingly to make sure that you can maximize the little time that he's going to be having on the pitch. And also, if he's not playing, it's a big blow for Bafana Bafana. Coach Hugo Broos still believes that he can do something, even in the dressing room. And also, he's at the end of his career at Sundowns. You need to create an environment where he steps off the stage with dignity. You don't want a mess around this situation, and because they really have to handle it with care.
Because as a club captain, and I think in years to come, it's going to be difficult to explain that the only infield player who was there when Sundowns won this title in 2016 was kept on the bench in both legs.
That's experience.
That's experience. And I think we must also remind people that in as much as this Pyramids team is a team that is only 7 years old, but it's got players who've won Champions League titles, who've won CAF Confed Cup titles, CAF Super Cup titles, and the likes of Fati, the Sobi, you can count the number of players, the Alcatis. There are a number of players in that team. I mean, Mayele was playing in a CAF Confed Cup final not long ago with Yanga, So that amount of experience is very important, and I felt that something like that was lacking.
No, there's no two ways about it. As I said, I think they need to handle it with care. And I'm actually writing something about this whole thing that Sundowns are at the crossroads now. I think the decisions that they're going to make now will have a huge bearing into the future of this club, because there are a few things which I think they are not right at the club. You can't have a club that's got ambitions of dominating the continent. The coach and the football and the football director are not entirely or fully supported by the fans. That's going to be a big problem. Fans are not happy with the two men. The Sundowns team is aging. If we really have to look closely.
Yes. Actually, I like the fact that you are bringing that comment, and I want us to go to Coach Hugo when he was addressing a press conference in Polokwane, because he touches on this, the impact of not having Sundowns players, but he also says what you are saying, that Sundowns players are also aging, so they have to look beyond them.
It was a very important game for those guys yesterday, and I have an agreement. I made an agreement with the Sundowns coach, I think 2 months ago or something, that he could count on all his players, even during the FIFA week. And from the beginning, the goal for me was to call new players, young players, and see what we could do for the future. I know, so the Sundowns present has always been very important in the national team. Why? Because those are players who are very experienced on a higher level. So it helped us a lot in the past. But as you know, I'm not a coach who always look at the top teams. I'm always looking at the other teams in South Africa. So we will see what will happen now. There will be an influence. It's normal because those Sundowns players were always there. Nearly every game we played in the past. But from some of the Sundowns players are also 30 and more. So we have to think also to the future.
And I like how the coach is answering this, Zizo, because it also means that in as much as Sundowns players are influential in the team, and we know the kind of a role they played in Bafana Bafana getting a bronze, but even there at Sundowns, they must look beyond that. But what is surprising to me is to see the players like Malikos, the Litlakos, at the beginning of the season who were getting game time.
Now
they've been relegated to the stands now.
Yeah, the other issue is that, as the players are aging, if you look at most of these players that are over 30 at Sundowns, they are national team players. But the schedule is going to be punishing between now and AFCON. They are on a break, a short break. When they come back, it's the Club World Cup in the US. They come back, the season starts. It's cups. I'm just not sure what is happening with the Champions League, but they will be busy with the league and cup competitions. And then they will pause, short break, go to AFCON. That's a lot of football. When they come back, the Champions League again. So there must be a way in which they're going to have to manage them, because legs of a 30-year-old and younger plus is just not quite the same. Even though the experienced people have done this over and over again, the challenge will be there. And also, I don't see a deliberate attempt by the club to really show faith in young players, as Pirates are doing.
Like Pirates did.
As Stellenbosch
are doing. If you look at Pirates, two 20-year-olds are leading the attack. At centre back now, a teenager is there.
Slepe is there.
Slepe towards the end. And this is a Pirates team on paper who have not spent even close to what Sundowns spent on the market.
Yeah, I'm sure if you can put the package of salaries there and all these youngsters at Pirates, it doesn't really come anywhere near. That's how you need to be smart about this. And this is one of the things that makes the Sundowns fans to be angry, to say you're spending so much money. You sign this South American team, you are signing them for the Champions League, and they are not making an impact in the Champions League.
And
so what are you signing them for?
And so we must put this on the record that there is nothing wrong in Sundowns spending that amount of money,
it's their money
when competing against North African teams who also even buy players back from the Gulf region, players back from
England.
But also it must be accompanied by results.
Yes.
If you spend over 150 million on the transfer market, it must be accompanied by results.
Also, just look at the players that Sundowns have signed to the transfer window now, and then I would rather not have signed those players and get Miguel, who can come and score maybe 10 goals or 9 goals in the Champions League and help me to win this thing.
Because one of the things I've picked up in the past week is Miguel was supposed to join Sundowns not long ago, when he was still at Yanga, and I understand that people even went to watch Miguel, and the recommendation was made, but apparently the sporting director decided against the move. And I think if you look during his tenure, there's no African player who has came to the club. And when we look back in this game, we saw the influence in the spine
of pyramids with West African players.
From Toure, and then you also had Mayele as well. And then this tells you that Sundowns cannot continue, if they are serious about winning the CAF Champions League, to ignore African talent, because just to put it bluntly, besides Allende and Riveiro, the other South American talent at Sundowns has not proven itself.
No. Esquivel is not playing, Saverde is not playing, a whole lot of other guys who came there before, they didn't make an impact. And these people come here with a lot of money. I mean, why will it hurt Sundowns to really go to West Africa and scout for players there? Players will come for a little bit cheaper, and then if you're lucky, one or two, you can actually take them to Europe and recoup your money back. So the South Americans will always have challenges when it comes to the continent, because it's quite a difficult terrain negotiating around the continent. You need the players who can understand traveling around the continent, playing in those conditions. Generally on the continent is very hot, and they do struggle. I mean, if you look at that first half and the second half, you could see that they are struggling. Salas also has struggled a lot in the Champions League. He's doing well in the league, but in the Champions League, which is what we were told they are signing him for, he has not delivered.
Yeah, and for me, because I just want us to put up these results as well. Especially if you look in the last 5 matches, there's results that we're discussing here. And here you see that Sundowns has only scored 2 goals in the last 5 matches. 2 goals. And the other goal, we're not going to count that much that they scored against Ahly, because that was an own goal. But so, which tells you that in the analysis of Coach Krunoslav, and I think we must give him I mean, his due. He deserves his credit for this one. The planning and also just the tactical planning of this Pyramids team was really out of this world, and I think you're gonna get Soso to comment on this, and I know I'm committing you. You're gonna get him. He's there next to you. There, he's in a coaching course there. I want him to just break this game down for us in terms of what really happened tactically. What did Pyramids do better? But here you could see that the signs were there that Sundowns is going to struggle in the final. Yeah,
I mean, throughout the tournament, Sundowns have been thin on the goals. They haven't won a lot of matches. Most of the matches were draws. When this guy came in December, they were critical but stable. They did just enough to progress. But you are right. I think they've been thin on the goals. But also, one thing which is surprising about what is happening at Sundowns is that you have got Peter Shalulile who's not playing.
You know what? You're talking about Peter Shalulile. Now you are reminding me of the game against Maniema in DRC.
He came through.
Less than 5 minutes to go, Sundowns was going out of the tournament.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals.
He came through, he scored a brace. And then he was frozen after that. In this game, Shalulile comes in, and suddenly there's movement.
There's movement, They are pushing,
Another player who is said not to be favored by the system.
Yeah, and also one thing which is rather, very unfortunate about what's happening with Shalulile. In the league, the guy didn't get minutes. He's just about to break a South African record, and you are not playing him. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who does not. It's announced there by these people who does not like Shalulile and who does not like Themba Zwane. But someone, somewhere, does not like.
And we were told that Shalulile could also be leaving.
Yeah, he could be leaving because you can see. So you can also see his body language is not right. We know Shalulile is a very, very respectful person. He's a professional guy. He works very hard, and he pushed to the last minute. I think at the end of the Club World Cup, because I'm sure personally he would have the ambition or the dream of playing at the Club World Cup. When he comes back from the Club World Cup, I think we may see this man leaving. There are offers there in the Gulf region where he's going to make money for his family.
Yeah, no, this one is difficult, Zozo, because you were talking about bringing players, and it's not going to be easy to even consider Mayele now. Sundowns can afford him, but he will not be the 6 million rands that they could have paid just a few years ago. I understand that when you what when you go for lobola negotiations, in fact, Mayele, you must not speak less than $50,000 just for his salary. In fact, one guy was even telling me that he's in the region of 1.5 million rands a month in terms of his salary, his current salary in this club. So
you've got people there who are in pretty much earning that money and they are not doing anything.
so there are people that 1.5 there.
You are playing, man.
And no goals. But
those ones of transfer room, those ones are taking everything. They're taking big money. Those players.
So the conclusion is that some serious decisions need to be made
Definitely.
at Sundowns, especially regarding their recruitment policy,
Yes.
if they are serious about competing on
Refreshing
the
the team. If you are going to have the bulk or the core of the team that is getting that older, it must be a worry. I know they've got younger players like Jordaan and Maseko and Sales and them who still have got time on their hand. But if you're gonna be facing out some of the senior guys, you really need like a good crop of young players coming through, and they have not done that. I think we can all agree. Sundowns is not a development team; it's a buying team. Then you've got to go out there and buy exceptional young talent. That can be the future of the club.
Yeah. We'll come back next week and discuss in detail the issues around the Club World Cup, because it's kicking off very soon. The team will be going there. They're in a group that has got some very interesting teams. When you look at Fluminense, Borussia Dortmund, Ulsan, we're speaking to a player from Ulsan yesterday, coming from Sweden, and I think next week we'll hear more from him as well. But now, what does this mean for Coach Cardoso? He's just arrived this season, and we know and we saw what the contract of the coaches at Sundowns. It was saying that you must win the Champions League, you must win the other trophies as well. But the Champions League was seen as his biggest project. Now he's lost back-to-back finals when it comes to the CAF Champions League. Surely you don't expect him to go and win the Club World Cup?
No.
So how do you turn the situation around? And also, in your responses, so I also want you to accommodate the issue of the playing style. I know with Coach Rolani, the issues that were raised was the issues around variation in terms of style. And how Sundowns were knocked out previously in the CAF Champions League, but now Sundowns doesn't play that football, and because some of the guys I've been talking to in North Africa, they feel that it is easier to play against this current Sundowns team. The team that was difficult to play against was the previous team of Coach Ryan in terms of how they are playing, and also there's a feeling that Sundowns has veered off big time from their style of play, which also made them a difficult team to come up against.
Yeah, with the issue of the style of play, I think you are correct. They've moved away from the traditional stuff. You know, that whole piano and shushan thing, which it was there a little bit of it during under Coach Piso. I think also because of the players that Coach Piso had, the Villas and the Pesitaus and the Kick and Dollies and
because Coach Piso could play pragmatic type of football, but still with some elements of the Sundowns play. He
managed to find the right balance. Obviously, sometimes you look at the opposition, you look at the occasion, and then you adjust accordingly. Coach Ulani was just flat out. He wanted to play the good stuff. I think there was a little bit of naivety at times, especially when it came to the Champions League, because teams they don't allow you to play. Then along came Coach Mangoba. They called it the Gau train.
They're calling it the Gau train. Hey.
They called it Gau train football. The fans hated the thing. This coach came. There's a little bit of Gau train, but maybe the speed is a little bit less. A little bit of pragmatism with the way he goes about things. He talks a lot about maybe trying to play football the right way. But you can see the European influence. The Portuguese are not, the kind of scope and donor kind of guys. Also, they try to play football. I mean, you can look over the years. The international footballers that Portugal has produced. You're right. At some stage they were found wanting, especially on the continent. In the league, just because of the difference of quality, teams just couldn't match up against Sundowns. But they were found out a lot on the continent, and it is explained by the fact that you can check from the group stages or even the earlier rounds. they really didn't win enough matches. Most of the matches were draws. They were figured out very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
And
they're not scoring enough goals.
They're not scoring enough goals.
Sundowns, you know that they're going to score goals.
Yeah, and I think also most of the teams, I hate going back to the Mshishi issue, they took advantage of the lack of influence that Mshishi had on Sundowns
100%.
over a number of years. When Mshishi plays, Sundowns just ticks, and he was not there for a very, very long time. And I think they missed him, even though he's aging. We don't know what kind of influence he could have had. But, big players like that always have got an impact into the system, Klompo talks about the system. They say Mshishi and Rivaldo Kotsia have the system. Now the two guys with the systems are not there. No, Rivaldo, the other one, I believe, is leaving. So it's a big challenge.
Do you think injuries really got the end of him?
Yeah, injuries.
Because with Mbule, you're not really surprised.
No, with Mbule, I think even if I was the owner of Sundowns, I'll get rid of him. You don't want nonsense like that in what Mbule is doing. He needs to be serious about his football, or rather go do that stuff that he's doing out there. I think he needs to grow up. He's a very, very, very talented footballer, but he needs to be serious. He needs to take things serious. You don't want a dressing room that has been disrupted by unprofessional behavior. With Rivaldo, I think he can go there. He can go there. He can help Chiefs. You can imagine. Obviously,
injuries is all.
When you sign him knowing his risk reward.
Okay.
And also, there must be a lot of consultation with the fitness and medical people.
Okay.
As to how do you manage him. He can't train every day like everybody else. And I know he's
Is he fit to play now?
I think he should be okay now. Or if not, I mean, you have got enough time now between now and the beginning of the season. They are not even playing top 8, so he can have an extra week or 2 weeks. You can get him ready, and you just need to manage him, load him properly.
Okay.
And if he plays, he can add a lot of value. He's a very, very special footballer.
I can tell you, I was at Terra Malewa's place just around the time when he was doing his medical. With Glasgow Celtic, because Terra had scouted him and brought him to the Ajax Academy. But as we're about to conclude our interview, that's when the news came in that he's failed that medical. And it was devastation. I could see Terra was close to tears because, what this would have meant. And even for my story now, it changed the whole ending,
so suddenly you didn't have a story.
Exactly, So when Coach Pizzo signed him for Sundowns,
remember they signed him injured, eh?
They signed him injured.
Just because Coach Pizzo believed in what
him,
he can do. And just to look at the versatility of the player, there was something that Rulani did with him. He played him as a hybrid 6, which is something that we all said, wow, what is going on here?
Coach Rulani and the terms, the technocrat stuff.
Yeah, he played him as a hybrid 6, not quite a centre back, not quite a defensive midfielder, just there. And he did his thing there. Obviously with Mshishi and some of the other players, he just proper. He's got a pass, he scans, he's got a brain. He reads the game very well. He doesn't get stuck into tackles because I think it plays in his mind the issue of the injury.
Yes.
But if he's fit, if he's conditioned properly, he can be an asset to any team in the PSL, definitely.
Well, thanks for that one, Zizo.
I didn't talk about the coach, the future.
Yes.
I don't think Sundowns will panic for now. The problem is that if they get Kloba there, the Club World Cup, then that's another story, which is likely going to happen if you look at the quality of the opposition. Anything is possible in football, but I can tell right now it's going to be very difficult to beat Borussia Dortmund. It's going to be very difficult to beat Fluminense, who plays the...
And I can tell you, the way...
Those Koreans are not easy.
The way the Swedish player was talking yesterday, you could get the sense that... And their opening game, Ulsan,
is against Ulsan,
yeah. The way he was just talking about Sundowns, I was like, hey, just no? But
you remember what happened the last time?
Yes.
They lost, a Korean or Chinese or
Yes,
a team that...
And also for me, what is important is the mood in the Sundowns camp. Because, the boys are also professionals, but behind the scenes, deep down...
A lot is happening there, yeah. So that dressing room needs calm heads. I think there must be one-on-one meetings. They really need to do a lot behind the scenes to ensure that when they resume for that mini pre-season before they go to the US, everybody's got a shoulder behind the wheel and they're pushing in the same direction. Because if you're going to have guys not fully committed to the cause, that can be a serious problem.
Well, these are informed views of people who are covering the team, following the team. They are there with the team. So this is not hearsay or just some people shooting from the hip. I just thought I must make that clear.
Yeah.
Well, Zizo, one thing I can tell you that I'm going to try. We're going to try and get maybe our friends in Egypt just to get their reaction. I've got my friend there, Ahmed. Ahmed, we need to hear from you. We need to hear from you just in terms of the reaction. Yes,
Answer your phone.
Yeah. Well, joining us today here on African Football Connect is my big friend all the way from Cairo in Egypt, Mr. Ahmed Bahy. He comes from Number One News. And let me tell you that when I was in Cairo, he treated me very well. I met him just after the game between Zamalek and Pyramids. And pity Zamalek had lost that game. But this time around, I must say that it's been very interesting because we've attended a couple of matches together. We were also there. He even interviewed me when Amajita won the AFCON Under-20 tournament. And I saw him also again doing well when Pyramids lifted the CAF Champions League title. Welcome to African Football Connect, Ahmed, and congratulations to Pyramids becoming the 4th Egyptian team to win this title.
Again for your invitation and welcome to all your fans. And you are very welcome always in Egypt, of course, and tomorrow will be the revenge for Zamalek from Pyramids in the last match we lost. But tomorrow will be the cup final and a match with a cup directly.
But they beat you the last time I was there at the Cairo International Stadium. But maybe just before we go to that game, let's go back to the game between Sundowns and Pyramids. What do you think made things not easy, but to see Pyramids ending up as the champions of Africa in that game?
Of course, we talked in this issue before that most of our South African teams doesn't have the sickness or the homesickness. They can play outside home very well. Most of South African teams can score more than one goal outside the game, outside the home, such as Orlando Pirates against Pyramids itself, such as Sundowns against Ahly. Maybe South African team in 2019 against Egypt here in Cannes also. So this is the most important point that Pyramids face in his match against Sundowns. I know from the start of the match that Sundowns will score, definitely will score. So I think Pyramids play on to score 1 and 2 goals. This is how Pyramids face this point against Sundowns, and doesn't make the same mistake Ahly did with Marcel Kuller, which score 1 goal only and defend. This is the reason why Sundowns succeeded against Ahly but failed against Pyramids, because Pyramids lesson learned from Ahly case.
Mhm. So what you're saying is Pyramids also they've been doing well at home because they've won all their 7 matches that they played in the Champions League at home, and I think this is something that worked well for them. But also the away goal they scored at Loftus Stadium also helped them big time.
Yes, of course, Carti's goal is one of the most important reasons why Pyramids succeeded to gain this big trophy. I think Pyramids along the journey of the tournament uh, achieved and well achieved. I think Pyramids championship against all the championship. Maybe Pyramids and Esperance was the first and second with 14 points in or 13 points maybe in this in their group. So I think Pyramids is the best team in this CAF Champions League.
Let's talk about Coach Krunoslav Jurčić. What is special about him? I mean, people can think that he's one
It's a crazy man.
coach, he is a crazy man. But what has been different about him?
Let tell you about my speech with him after winning the cup. I asked him about the crowd in this match in the final. A lot of Egyptian people were there in 30 June Stadium supporting Pyramids. This was very new. I think it's the first time to see fans for Pyramids with this number. So he was very happy with that because he told me before that all of his exciting and the passion on the line because he wanted to recover the absence of fans or the absence of crowd in the stadium. So this time he has the crowd, he has the passion, he has the support from media, from top management in political management in Egypt. Even the minister of youth attended the match. A lot of buses accumulated to make the fans go to the stadium and support the Pyramids. I think it was a day in love of Egypt, not only Pyramids, but also all of Egypt support the Pyramids. Egypt won on this day.
But now I hear that Krunoslav could be leaving Pyramids. Is there a case of there were offers even before? I remember in one of the games, I think it was after the Pirates game there at 30th June Stadium, he did say that he was not happy because the team doesn't have supporters. It's been difficult, and indicating that whether they win or lose the Champions League, he will still leave. So is it official that he's leaving?
Let me tell you another thing. In the press conference after Pyramids and Pyramids versus Zamalek match when we met first time, he said very strange thing. He said Pyramids cannot win the league. Why? Because we are Pyramids. So he let me say now Jurčić see the competition in the Egyptian league is not fair.
You know, it's interesting that you are saying that because even here in South Africa, after they played against Sundowns at Loftus, we asked him because they were still going to the last game. I think they were playing, was it Petrojet?
Petrojet.
Yes.
Winning 5-1.
Yes.
Playing with 10 players only in the middle of two debuts of final of CAF Champions League. And and celebrating after the match.
And yes,
because Pyramids now make a case at FIFA CAS to gain again the league title, because Ahly withdraw against Zamalek in their match because of some issue regarding foreign referees or something like that.
yeah. But when is the
it's
case
supposed-
sitting at CAS? When is the case sitting?
Pyramids asking that Ahly should remove the 3 points from Ahly because withdrawal against Zamalek, which is very normal thing. Happened for Zamalek before last year. Zamalek withdrawn against Ahly and also removed 3 points from him. This year, Ahly after making a decision from the organizers that Ahly will be removed 3 points in the end of league, suddenly another decision came and no 3 points removed. As a difference between Ahly and the Pyramids in points in the end of league, 2 points only. So if we remove the 3 points from Ahly, Pyramids will be the champion of league.
So what are the chances of Pyramids winning that case at CAS?
It depends on the papers will be sent here from Egypt. And I think now, after winning the CAF Champions League, it may be something of خلاص انتوا you gain the Africa Champions, the CAF Champions League. It's enough for you.
No, but maybe they want the trouble.
Unfortunately, I will tell you that things managed here in Egypt by this way, and this why we cannot go forward in our Egyptian football.
Yeah, no, very interesting. But now, so it's official that he's leaving Krunoslav.
He didn't confirm in the press conference, but I think he is not happy. He's not happy, not in Pyramids, but he is not happy in Egyptian football.
Yeah,
totally.
I saw the name of our Rulani Mukwena being mentioned when talking about possible next coaches of Pyramids. Is that some serious talk there in Egypt or what?
I think owners of Pyramids can bring any any coach or any manager you need. You can remember Pyramids in the starting when Mr. Turki Al Sheikh, of course, the Saudi famous millionaire, made this club. A lot of players such as Brazilian Kino, a lot of players came here to play in Pyramids. A lot of famous players. So I think Mukwena may be one of the choices, but it's not the final. Maybe bigger name may be assigned, but I think Jurčić may stay if he win tomorrow, and I will not be happy if he win tomorrow.
But when you talk about this coach, Krunoslav, and just the teams, so we've seen Pyramids, especially now because they were here at Orlando Stadium to play against, in fact, here at FNB Stadium to play against Orlando Pirates. I also went there in Egypt, and I went to watch them playing against Pirates, also playing against Zamalek. The team, I think, besides everything else, in terms of what was happening in the domestic league there, you could see that this is a team that is hungry. They really wanted to do something special. And the fact that they also don't have big crowds like Zamalek and Ahly, it was not an issue that was really troubling them. Under Coach Krunoslav, they developed ways of being this team that is fearless. And one of the things that I said earlier, and when we're counting the names, the Sobis of this world, the Alcates of this world, the El Shinawis, the Fatis, the Chibis, they have enough players who've got the experience to do this thing.
Yeah, I think recruitment. Some of the names that you've just rattled now are names that most top African teams would not have gone for. Some are viewed differently will be viewed differently by certain teams, and they showed faith in them. You have to assemble a team that you believe can do the job for you. I listened to the coach. I kind of liked him. It's a bit of a maverick in a way. On the bench there, you can see also he knows the dark arts of putting pressure on the referee.
Yes.
Running around there, complaining about everything. That's the big league. That's the Champions League. You can't be quiet there. You must do everything. So the next time he's on the pitch, and I know we don't promote that kind of stuff, but coaches do those things. He's a bit of a maverick in a good way. He's a good coach. You can see that also that the club is very serious behind the scenes as to what they're doing. When they were at Loftus, no, I'm talking about the other team now, but you can see that teams at that level, they are very well stocked behind the scenes.
Have you seen their traveling contingent?
It's plenty, lots of people. When they were there for the first leg in the pre-match stuff, when they were training there, I took a video of just the people who are behind the scenes.
They travel in 2 buses.
It's a lot of people who are supporting and our teams. They are traveling there, sometimes they don't even have enough players to travel because they can't afford money to do this kind of thing. So if you are at that level, really, you have to do it. And I think the team is owned by wealthy people who are serious about these things. Obviously, next season becomes a different story because they've got a target on their back now. They are among the big boys now, and they have to step it up. But they've got a good coach. They've assembled a good team. I'm sure they'll go back and relook, boost where they need to boost. And
they don't even have enough supporters. I'm told that the Minister of Sport there had to bus in people for them to come and watch them.
But with this, there will be... I don't know if they'll be able to take fans from Zamalek or from Ahly because those ones
not a chance.
But also for the young Egyptians who are not decided if maybe your father or your mother is not forcing you to support Zamalek or Ahly or the other teams. This is the team for the future. If they can continue at the rate that they are on now, you can clearly see that there's a team that can resonate with young people. It's a lively brand. They remind me of AS Cape Town back in the day when AS Cape Town came to the scene. It was fresh. It's new. There was a big vibe around them. And Africa needs a good story like this. I hope they are not going to mess it up going forward because we have seen good football stories on the continent that end up with nothing because people behind the scenes, they don't do the right thing. But for the coach, congratulations to him. I listened to him very, very carefully. He's a guy who loves football. And he always laments the fact that they're not getting enough support from the people. And maybe this will be the turnaround for people to start supporting the team when they're playing at home.
I'm surprised that he's not committing for the future. Let's just listen to him.
Yes, what I said before, I have to sit with people from the club. First, I have big ambition. I have to speak with people from the club. If they have big ambition, we can find one normal connection that we can continue in the future, that we can make big things. But I need one very ambitious club who want to win, who want to make something big. If we coming in every zone, I don't want to be part of this project.
Is this surprising to you, Abis? When you win, you expect a coach to commit, or maybe more zeros are being added somewhere now. And remember, he's also close to Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabian League has got a lot of money, and we know that successful coaches there. Even Coach Pitso, after leaving, he went to Saudi Arabia.
Well, you may find that maybe when he came to Pyramids, he probably maybe took a salary cut to restart his career. But now that he has won this thing, he's going to ask for more money. And they must do something because if he were to lose, if they were to lose him, it will be a massive blow for the club. It means they'll have to start from scratch. and that may be a big blow for the club. And most of these guys, when they leave with the players. He may take 1 or 2 players with him to go to wherever he's going to. But for the sake of our football on the continent, I think we need someone like him. I like him. He brings something different.
Who can afford him here?
Yeah, we're here. There's a club looking for a coach here. So, there's your man. And for us here, it will be good because he speaks good English.
The club next door.
Sometimes they play here when they don't have a stadium.
Very interesting. As we are coming out of North Africa, just to remain there, so we move to the story of Jose Riveiro, unveiled now at Al Ahly. I just want to get something from Ahmed again, especially in terms of how he's been received there, because we also see that they're busy with the reshuffling there. Yeah. Big name players, Ali Malol, Rabi, and the guys have left, but very interesting for me. So, okay, let's listen to Ahmed. Let's talk Al Ahly. I've just seen them at the airport on their way to the US. Obviously now Coach Jose Riveiro has settled. His technical team has been announced. How's the mood in Egypt after his announcement, and what are the expectations as they leave for the Club World Cup?
I have an interview with you, Velil, before, and you told me very important things in the character of Riveiro. We felt it already. Most of Ahly fans have felt it. He is very tough and very serious. Mm-hmm. I think this will be important for Ahly in the coming. I think he will concentrate on the offensive tactics because Kolar was very defensive, which is not the character of Ahly at all. Riveiro insisted to make Mr. Ahmed Nahas, which was a temporary coach, the temporary local coach of Ahly, and win the league, to continue with him. He came with, I think, a lot of coaches, a lot of stuff, mm-hmm. about 11 of his stuff in Orlando Pirates. I think Riveiro experiment with Ahly will be very successful or very failure. It will not be moderate.
Yes, and I've already seen, some of the players who've already left, Rabi, Malul, and also we've seen the signings that they've made, also the midfielder from Tunisia coming in yesterday, and also Aliou Dieng is back now. So you can
Aliou Dieng, he insisted to make Aliou Dieng again in the team. And I think Zizou tomorrow will join Ahly after finishing the season with Zamalek. He will be free and they will be in the air to USA.
Wow. That's very interesting. But you know what? We're just going to leave it there. And then closer to the Club World Cup, we will have this discussion again, just to look forward, because Al Ahly has got a very interesting group. Inter Miami up against Messi there in that group. Some big battles that they are going to fight in the tournament.
I think Ahly group is very good for Ahly. Inter Miami maybe have a lot of big names such as Messi, Suarez, Jordi Alba, but totally the team is not good at all. I think Ahly can make a historical record with them. I think Ahly can fight in this group and can qualify for the next round. And this a very important opportunity for Ahly to make a history in World Cup, because Ahly, in a lot of his contributions in World Cup, he haven't reached the final at all. You remember, I think Mazembe reached the final, Raja reached the final.
Yes.
A lot of African teams reached the final. The most achievement Ahly succeeded to get is a third place, which is I don't think it is an achievement because Africa, we are both Africans, and let me tell you something. Africa is the third continent in the world after Europe and South America and South America. Africa is the third continent. So I think reaching the final in the last shape of Club World Cup was a real achievement, which is Ahly failed to make it in all of his previous contribution. So it's a big opportunity for Ahly this time to make a real history for Ahly, Egypt, and also Africa.
But so what is interesting here is, if you look at the players, I mean, just Rabi, they were counting 6 Champions League titles. That is one during this period that has been there. I mean, Malul, the numbers for a defender in terms of goals and the titles, this is serious business.
Dieng, I think, is also back. Alon Dieng, the central midfielder.
He was on loan, eh?
Yeah, he was on loan away.
Yes.
I think he had a problem with the coach. I mean, that's a strong statement of intent. You can be guaranteed, as we sit here now, that they will be fighting for the title in the Champions League next season.
Yeah, I know. And they've gone for a coach who was in the semi-final with a team that had not been in the semi-final in 12 years, and they're backing him.
And also with Coach Riveiro, because of the nature and the demeanor of the man, he may work there. Because sometimes when there's a lot of noise, Egyptians I'm not disrespectful, but they love football, and there's too much noise. Then if you have a guy like that who can be the calming influence, who can be the voice of reason, I'm not saying that there's no voice of reason, but he can be, he's very, very quiet, and I just hope that maybe the noise doesn't swallow him because of his quiet demeanor. But he can bring the right balance.
But I think we saw, he can also be something else.
Yeah, he can be. He can push when he needs to push. But generally, you really need to be to have done something to press the buttons that really can stimulate him. The other thing that I'm just not quite sure about is that it doesn't have. Over that technical team that have unveiled, obviously it's good that they are locals, but I think maybe he needed to bring 1 or 2 of his own people.
No, they're there. They're there.
So
they're in good numbers.
That is good.
I think it's got about 3-4.
That is very good because then there will also be a balance. You need people that can trust you, because if you go there and then it's all the locals there, they are going to kill you. They are going to finish you. So I think this can be a very, very good balance. A quiet coach in a noisy place. He can provide the calming influence on the things, and I'm just quite sure that they will be there competing for the Champions League in the knockout stages at the later stage.
Now, I want us to move from that one. What is going to be very interesting, but we'll touch more on Al Ahly, on Sundowns, on Esperance, on Wydad. Wow, Themba Zwane.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
Is he going to come back there?
But
because he's one of the players that
I think there's an option. But since
they must just make things easy and release him.
Exactly.
He looks happy there. Change of environment.
But next week we'll deal more with the Club World Cup.
He's not doing those videos that he was doing here.
All right, Eva. Bafana Bafana is in camp, so listening to Coach Hugo, and I just want to let's hear him talking about this, because he's clear that these matches is not for results.
I think it's a great opportunity for the new players who are with us and also the young players. There is no pressure. We play friendly games, so the result is not that important. From our side, I will give every player the same play time. It's a little bit difficult for goalkeepers, but even there, we will try that every goalkeeper is playing the same minutes, and that we have make a good evaluation after this this FIFA week, on our goalkeepers, but also on our players. The performance is the most important thing. Surely we like to win the 2 games, and we will do everything to win the 2 games. But more important is the performance of the players, certainly the new players. Again, I will not put pressure on them. They just have to play their game, and then we will see, evaluate what we are going to do in the future. It was a little bit a search to a stadium where we could play our 2 games. So the previous week it changed. I exaggerate now, but nearly every day. In the beginning, they spoke about Durban, then they spoke about PE, then they spoke about Polokwane, then they spoke about Johannesburg. At the other side, I was very happy that we could play our 2 games here. So we don't have to move, because in the beginning it was first game Friday here, and then Tuesday, so taking the bus on Saturday, going back to Joburg, and then playing in Loftus. But because there is a rugby game the week after, or the weekend after our game on Tuesday, it was a little bit difficult, because they have to prepare the stadium after our game again for the rugby game on Saturday. So there were much problems before we knew exactly what and how and where. So, but with the location here, I'm very happy. Also with the stadium, it's a very good pitch. It's a nice stadium. Let's hope there will be a crowd, and I can imagine and expect that there will be not a full house. But let's hope that there will be a crowd, because it's good for the players too to make a good performance.
I guess when you don't have the Sundowns players, when you look at just the selection of the players, it's got the Sepang Muremis, the Mbutumas, the Slepers, or also the
boy from Chipa, I like him.
Kwaiba as well, the new Pirates player,
TLB,
the TLB as well. I guess it's understandable when the coach says results are not important, but also the coach has got an important stat to protect, because he's unbeaten in South Africa in the 4 years, and as the longest serving Bafana Bafana coach ever, he's unbeaten in South Africa.
I think it's fair enough. If we don't have the Sundowns players, then give chances to other players, so that we can see what they can do. Most of those players are the guys who are sort of below the real Bafana Bafana. When you've got a crisis of players not available, suspensions, injuries, we're going to tap in there. When we tap in there, we'll tap into players who have got a little bit of experience in international football. And also you can see he has largely rewarded good form. Players who have been doing well. Mbokazi is one of them. I've said it before that I like the boy. We need to protect him. It's definitely one for the future. For the few matches that this boy from Pirates Lepe has played, I think Makaule is going to have a tough job trying to take the place back.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Raymond Mdaka, and remember he still qualifies to be part of the under-20, and apparently he was in their camp earlier, but he didn't make the team. But I think now that he's in the Bafana,
definitely
he selects himself
definitely.
to go to Chile.
Yeah, he must go to the World Cup. We can't. I will feel sorry for the guy who's going to be replaced, but really, he's got something. He will play at the World Cup against boys of his age at that level, which is going to be a higher level. I like him. I think he can form a very good partnership with Talent Mbata, but maybe in terms of structure, he needs to bulk up a little bit, which is something we've spoken about here before. We are not body shaming, but just as a reality of top level football. But he can play, you were talking about Moremi from Amazulu. He's another player who has done very well. Good for him that has been rewarded. Kwaiba from Chipa, I'm told, is going to Pirates.
Yes.
He will be a welcome addition to Pirates.
Maybe Moremi could be moving as well.
We'll never know. But Kwaiba, if you look at him, he's a specimen. He's a tall boy. He's got the physique. He's pretty much has got everything. He will fit very well at Pirates. He will be a good addition for them. I remember seeing him briefly in that Bafana match in Nelson Mandela.
In PE,
where he came on.
And he's got goals in him,
He's got goals in him. So, I think let's just not prepare. I agree with the coach. Really, let's not be obsessed with the results here. Let's give these young guys a chance to play and see what they can do.
It will be interesting. The new sporting director, soon to be announced, sporting director at Chipa United, who was sitting here with us.
Team there.
It will be interesting in terms of how do they plan to replace Kwaiba together with his soon to be unveiled technical team.
Yeah. That's going to be a difficult one because most of the good stuff Chipa did this season was from him. He's a very good footballer, and I would love to see him at Bafana. I hope he starts, and we can have a closer look at him. I think let's see how they go. It's good that they are playing.
Yes.
Preparation is very important. I've said it here that you look at Banyana also, they are having friendly matches. We hammer SAFA, but sometimes when they are doing the small pockets of good things that they are doing, despite the mess that is there at the place, Banyana have been given adequate enough time to prepare for AFCON. Bafana are playing friendly matches during FIFA windows, so it's good, and also now an opportunity of Sundowns Plus not even be there has opened up a door for some of these so-called fringe players to get an opportunity. If Sundowns Plus were not there, we would not be talking about them, but it's good. But at the same time, there's a COSAFA squad. Maybe some of these players who are at Bafana now with the Sundowns Plus were there, will go to COSAFA and also gain experience there. So it's good. I'm a bit
now
surprised
they're playing
that
a serious A match.
I'm a bit surprised that they didn't pick. I'm sure they could have spoken to Sundowns to get Mali Maketa.
Mali Koza. No, I think they just. Me, I'm surprised that.
Makhala is not there. Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise for me. Yeah,
because when you look at his stats this season, there's no one who's been unveiling or putting out their team of the season without Makhalwa.
No.
Yeah,
that's a massive surprise. I don't know what goes into that, but Coach Hugo Broos, sometimes he comes up with this.
No, I understand that. Okay, Coach Hugo, you couldn't have him in the team, but at least in the
COSAFA team, why can't he go to COSAFA? Unless if they come later and say no, he said he's not available. But I mean, that can only.
No, I can tell you now.
He wants to go.
He wanted. He was waiting for this opportunity.
So it's a real pity.
We are not legal experts.
No. I definitely don't have a legal qualification.
But so before we go to Mr. Mandla, Mandla Tshabalala, who of Mandla Tshabalala Inc., one of our sports law experts and also a legal eagle of note. I just want to check in terms of, in South Africa, there was a stage where we had moved away from this thing of waiting until the end of the season.
It's really this ugly hit again.
And, our league is more professional. And I think there's something that I'm going to talk about there in that interview with Coach Mandla, which has got to do with Rule 52.2 in the NSL handbook, which talks about 40 days from the time the registration is closed, where you can question issues of registration. But now I see that clubs are going back to something that had been long put in the past. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, or we must allow teams to play improperly registered players. But if you had information, why wait until end of the season?
Yeah, it's a worrying thing. The rules are there, as you're saying. If you know today that Team B or Team A played an improperly registered player, why don't you lose tomorrow? And then take this matter to the DC and then it's sorted out and then we move on. But they always want to bank these things because they know they don't prepare very well for matches. Maybe if I can get 3 points at the end of the season, I'm staying in the league and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very bad. I just don't know how the league can clamp down on it, but it needs to be clamped down on. We need to find really systems where it can be dealt with, because it really is not acceptable that every season, at the end of the season, we have got this stuff. Now the playoffs, I'm sure they should be playing now. They are not starting because there are cases in NFD. Which rather, it puts a bad name on the league, as you said. The league has got a very good reputation out there, even on the continent. It's one of the well-run leagues. But we cannot continue having situations where, at the end of the season, lawyers are making more money than the footballers. It can't be.
No. Let's go to that interview that we did with the legal expert, Mandla, sports law expert, Mandla Tshabalala of Mandla Tshabalala Inc., not just touching on this issue of Durban City, who won their case, the arbitration, the judgment they delivered by senior counsel Hilton Epstein. But now there's also the small matter of Cape Town City also challenging the legality of that game between SuperSport United and the Golden Arrows, and for reasons and matters that we'll be discussing with Mandla Tshabalala. We have our sports law expert, Mr. Mandla Tshabalala of Mandla Tshabalala Inc. Mandla, thanks for your time. At the end of the season, we are supposed to be looking forward to the new season. We celebrate those who've been promoted, but sadly, that is not the situation as things stand. But also on the other side, we know that for sports law expert, it's also time to do the business around this time. Just firstly, there's the matter of Durban City, who won their arbitration. In fact, not their arbitration case, won an arbitration case that had been brought against them. The application of JDR Stars and also Cape Town Spurs, the SAFA arbitrator was thrown out. What did you make of this outcome on the player ineligibility?
They've asked me this question before, and prior to the arbitration itself, and I said it was going to be a very technical hearing, in a sense that it was not very straightforward issues. A lot of issues needed to be interpreted and bring them into perspective. There are very literal issues which we could decide on a face value of it. And there's issues that required to be interpreted. And that's what we've seen in this case. It was very technical in a sense that it involved a contract of a player, or firstly, it involved a transaction, a sale of a club, and the transfer of the club from one member of the NSL to a new member of the NSL, which happened prior to the actual end of the season, which is the 30th of June, and the transaction happened on the 27th. And now the technicality or the difficulty was the movement of players during that time. And I think that's where the bone of contention came from, as to when it was end of the season, who was then entitled to issue out the clearance of the players. It was very technical in the sense, from a face value of it, someone will just say, yeah, because the transfer has passed to the new owners, and in this case was Leruma. Then Leruma was to issue out clearances on the face of it. But then when you go deeper to that, it cannot just be as easy as that. And that it was proven by the award of FCN SC yesterday that it was not as easy as that.
So when you say it's technical, you mean that it's not a case maybe the arbitrator would, or even because it started at the PSL dispute resolution chamber, it's not a case where they would even get into the merits of the case because of how the rules are structured.
No, you get into the merits of the case. But remember, you are relying on the rules. For example, Rule 52, that gives a time frame as to when you can lodge a complaint and protest and all that. Now, It is straightforward as it is. However, a team then after the season goes and lodge a complaint, which is outside of the 40-day period as contained in the 52. However, there's another clause that gives another 5 days. Now, that on its own is not as straightforward as it is. It needed someone to sit down and really unpack the 40 days vis-a-vis the 5 days that are both contained in the NSL handbook. Because one would have said, if the rule says 40 days, then you would have been out of time. The arbitration would not have the jurisdiction to hear the matter. But the arbitration said and listened, meaning that they had a locus standi. The 5 days almost favored them, something like that. So all that needed to be argued and interpreted properly so that maybe the arbitrator could understand, or even a layperson who's not involved in the case could understand. So when I'm talking about the technical, I'm not talking about the technicalities which would have kick the matter out, but I'm saying the technicality in as far as the interpretation and application of the law. There's different types of interpretations which had to be applied in order for the arbitrator to arrive at the decision that he arrived at. Yes.
Why do you think that it was important? Because 52.2 was not always there, but I think with how things have happened in the past, and with this kind of cases where, in a similar situation like this one, of a player was registered at the beginning of the season, and then when maybe there are issues around promotion and relegation at the end of the season, some clubs would come up with cases. Why do you think it was important for the PSL to amend its rules and include this one?
Well, it was important so that it gives people time frame, because if it's not, it does not give people time frame within a specific time that you can lodge all these complaints. You leave it open, then it will be like a banana republic. Anybody can just lodge a complaint way after the season is completed. It will be a chaos, and it would have disrupted the proceedings of the league. Even now, probably there would have been lots of complaint brought if there was no time frame. The rules provide the time frame that you should then be able to lodge a complaint or protest. If not, my opinion, it would be a chaos. It will just be ungovernable. The league will be overwhelmed with complaints and protests because everybody will just have time. And in fact, I wish they could do more in as far as the 5 days one is concerned.
So because you feel that the 5 days ones gives a kind of a leeway for some cases of this nature to be contested.
Well, the 52, the 40 days. It says 40 days after the registration period has expired. It's very clear. If 40 days has expired, then you cannot lodge a complaint. It's very literal. But now, when you go to the 5 one, I think it's 42.3. It goes to the 5 days. Then it becomes a problem that you can still lodge a protest in 5 days. But it says, well, I don't have the rules with me. I cannot read it verbatim. But me sitting here trying to interpret it, I would say it simply says for any other misconduct or alleged misconduct. But then someone comes and say, yeah, but I was not aware of this misconduct up until the end of the season. Now that's where the 5 days comes in and say, yeah, you are not aware. We still have this leeway of 5 days that you can protest, you can lodge your complaint. That's how I read it, and it also creates a problem. Again, the 40 days talk to the registration of the player, the period of registration, which legitimizes the player. Now, one can easily ask and say, what if I didn't know that this player that has been registered was improperly registered, which renders the player ineligible? But it comes to my attention after the end of the season. Will I then be suffering because of the rules? So that's why I'm saying that the 5 days of 52.3, then it creates a problem of how then do we interpret it? Because the 52.2 is very clear. 40 days after the registration period. So that's how I look at it, and maybe that's why some teams then will prefer to wait until the end of the season, maybe to check if they're safe or not. If they're not safe, then they'll come and make use of the 5 days that is provided for in the rules. So my wish is that it could be just be clear as to the 5 days. Is it now for improper registration of the player, or is it something else? Because misconduct can be so many, except for the registration of the player.
The arbitration is not the final step in terms of saying that it's final, that yes, as things stand, because of that ruling, Durban City are promoted. They can go ahead and focus on preparing for the new season in top flight football. But also, it doesn't mean that the parties that lost yesterday cannot take this case further.
That's true. Domestically, in as far as football rules are concerned, domestically, arbitration is a pyramid. It's the top. So the decision is final. But there's two ways in which can be challenged. Either you can take the matter and appeal the decision of arbitrator at the Court of Arbitration for Sports in Switzerland, or if the aggrieved party is of the opinion that the arbitrator did not conduct himself well during the proceedings. For example, he did not consider some evidences and all that. You can take the arbitrator's award for a review in the High Court, and we've seen that happening in the Ndoro case and all that. You can take it on a review, or you can take it on case. But domestically, as far as the football rules are concerned, the arbitration is the final stage. Its decision is final, but then you are able then to refer the matter to case and take the matter on review at any High Court of South Africa.
As we wrap up this one, Bramandla, what lessons are we getting? Because I think even you guys as legal eagles, each and every case that comes and passes, you are left with lessons, and also in terms of what to take from it, even for future cases.
Well, for me, as I said earlier, that the 5 days needs to be very, very clear, because if it's not clear, teams are going to take advantage of that 5, and they'll be able to argue and interpret it well. So if that can be, in fact, I'll probably make a submission to PSL and say, can we deal with the 5 so that we don't leave it to contextual interpretation? The 52.2 is very clear. Then let the 52.3 also be clear so that people know that it's either you are in or you are out. That's something that I will fix so that by the end of the season, we know that the winner of the league is the winner. We're not suspecting that there could be anything else that comes, unless maybe there's a protest that happened, or maybe there's a matter that happened earlier and is still continuing. But then I would love to see a situation where come end of the season, we don't have any hanging matters. The winning team must just celebrate. Those who have been relegated must just go and prepare themselves to compete in other lower leagues.
Now, Pramela, there's the matter of Cape Town City. It's also coming up for arbitration as
Yes.
well this week, and it's a very interesting one because these are matters that we've always seen. I mean, I remember a game between Orlando Pirates and SuperSport United in Polokwane. It was not finished at night, and then due to a floodlight failure, and then the following day, the game was finished around 10 a.m. We had another situation this season that has just came to an end. Magesi as well. I think there was a floodlight failure or something around load shedding, and then fortunately they had a generator, and then they continued with that. But with Chippa United, Chippa won that game, I remember. But now, in February, there was this game of SuperSport United and Golden Arrows. I think there was load shedding, and then the game played up to halftime. There was no issue around generator at that time. Would only learn later. In fact, most of us expected that game to continue the following day based on the experience of what we've seen happening. And unfortunately, the rules are not silent on these issues. How do we interpret this one? Because now Cape Town City is challenging the legality of that game last week. And in fact, I see here on 14.19.1, in fact, it says the failure to provide adequate lighting in terms of this rule will result in the home member club being liable for all costs of all affected parties occasioned by the non-compliance with this rule. And 14.19.2 says the member club being charged with misconduct.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's an act of misconduct on its own. It's more like we have failed to secure a venue. Yeah, it is a misconduct that can lead to a team being charged and appeared before the disciplinary committee.
Would that
Yes.
would that even go as far? Because I've also checked on the manual. The manual is specific that if there are issues around the lighting or if it's electricity, the onus is on the home team to have a generator. And it appears that there was no generator at the stadium. So what happens in that case?
You see, the biggest challenge when I'm Nyandu is that all these facilities are owned by the municipality. And my belief is that they were playing at
Lucas Moripe.
Lucas Moripe. The club will provide venue, and I know at the beginning of the season the PSL will then go and do an inspection. Now, for example, if the club provides through the municipality the generator and the league approves, and on the day in question, for example, maybe something that they did not anticipate, then the generator doesn't work. It becomes a challenge. But the club can easily say, yeah, we've made arrangements with the municipality, but something happened with the municipality. Will that be the fault of the club or of the municipality? The challenge is that all these facilities are not owned by the club themselves, where they have limited control as to what then do they make sure that is in place. Generator must be in place, yes. Is it functioning? All these questions you can direct them to the club, but the club will have to direct them to the municipality as a third party. So there are a big challenge. Yes, it's a misconduct for failure to provide a facility with a lighting. It's unlike when there's flooding or it's raining and the match gets abandoned because of that, because that's an act of God. But with this one, my biggest gripe, especially with the teams, is that they're not the owners of the facility. They're not in total control of the facility. However, if the rule says they must appear before the DC, and I know that their defense will be, we have made arrangement, but the municipality has failed us because they're not in charge of the facilities.
Yeah. So this rule that says the onus is on the home team to ensure that there's lighting. How far does it go? And can this misconduct lead to deduction of points, or matters of this nature can even end up with a fine?
Well, it can end up with a fine. As we've read earlier, that they'll be liable for the compensation that goes, or the expenses that goes with the cancellation of that game. For example, I know that if the team was a traveling team and they've already booked their flights traveling back, well, they'll have to lose. Maybe there'll be some sort of a fine. It has nothing to do with the points. So disciplinary hearing, they might be liable for the fines, and yeah.
So could we interpret it as if maybe that it's also an act of desperation from teams just to use everything that's there to ensure that if maybe a team is trying to avoid going to the playoffs or avoid getting relegated?
We have seen in the past, a long time ago, that there was a team. It used to be called Mabopane Young Masters. It was playing in NFC.
Yes.
They were playing at Oji Stadium and they were losing. And the owner went and switched off the lights. And now we come back and say, yeah, but the lights went on. I'm not in charge. But there was evidence that they actually went and switched off the lights. Yes, it can be. It can be, especially where there's a room to do that. If there's no room, then you can't. But well, when desperation times call for desperation measures, right? So anything is possible.
But what do these kind of cases do, Bramandla? Because this is a league that has built its reputation on being world class. And I will tell you this: I was in Egypt recently, and sometimes we always read and we always see that North Africa football is the best, but my conclusion coming back from there was like, no, our PSL is miles ahead of other leagues on the continent, on a number of areas, especially when it comes to just on matters, just commercially and how everything is organized. But surely I don't think the game needs these kind of cases, because when you look at the commercial sponsors that the league has, I don't think they want to be associated with these kind of cases.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I agree with you that the PSL, when it comes to governance and corporate governance,
Correct.
is tops. Is tops. The rules are there to safeguard all these issues not to take place. But unfortunately, the rules are there, and the rules are there to favor members. And the members, when they lodge all these things, they refer to the rules. So the rules are there to make sure that in terms of governance, everything runs smoothly. And I must applaud PSL. The rules are very clear. But remember, there's a desperation measures
Correct.
when a team is losing. Now a team loses a Cape Town Spurs loses a business that's worth about 15, 20 million rands, going to a league where I don't want to talk about that, but a league that the value of the club can easily be 500,000 rands.
Yeah.
You would want to protect that business with everything at all cost, and then you use the very same rules open to interpretation again. The same rules that are there, and you look at something that might favor you, that might help you to escape the relegation, because nobody wants to go down. You rather be here, survive. If you're lucky enough, go up, because commercially it's much better run. There's much better benefit than being in a lower league. So all these teams that come before the arbitration, and you look at the structure of the judicial bodies, one of the tops in the world. In Africa, we are tops. Now they are then they're very operational, and we've got SCs that sit on the arbitration. They look at the rules, nothing else. It shows that those rules are very strong, and even the teams having to bring the SCs, some, or the advocate, the counsels, to argue. That means there is something that they can see. They can see a gap in and say, maybe then let's go and argue. But everything that they argue on is based on the rules. Nothing else. Nothing from outside. So it shows that there is a gap, and which is for me, is a good rules where people can just go and argue something that is based on the rules. It's a sign that our rules are working, and the more your abstains, SC, come with judgment based on the rules, it's a sign that we've got very good rules that protect the integrity of the league.
And someone like SC Abstain, I think you will also say, because I'm sure you've been there, argued a number of cases in front of him. He understands these rules very well, especially of football.
Well, he understands the rules, and sometimes, unfortunately, as lawyers, we are not being taught to know the law, but we've been taught how to read, interpret, and apply the law, and so far, and where to find the law. And so far, all the years that he has been in the game, he has shown that he's very astute as someone who understands the rules. He knows how to apply them. He knows what to find where in the handbook and apply it accordingly. So we need such people. So that's to protect the integrity of sports through the rules.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, Pramela, so that I can release you. Like I asked with the other one. So here in this arbitration, do you also see a possibility of a party that loses taking matters further?
Which one? The one of Cape Town City?
Yes.
Now, there's something important that you just forgot to mention. Well, I'm not asking you because you should be the one asking. Now, what does the rule say is about the match that has not been completed?
Yes.
If my memory serves me well, it says the match must be played 48 hours after the day before. Yes. That's a very critical point, because if I'm hearing what the Cape Town City is saying this match took place in February. Now it is May.
Yeah.
Why was this match not played within 48 hours, which is the following day?
Yes. So it appears as if Golden Arrows was refusing or refused to play the following day because of this issue of the generator that was not there at the stadium.
Yeah. But again, as much as we know that there's been a practice that the matches will continue tomorrow, there's a provision there which I'm not so sure where it is in the rule book that says pending the approval of the league. Am I reading correctly?
Yes. Pending approval of the league, but also the two teams agreeing.
It's a drawback. You understand? So if the two teams are not agreeing and the league does not, so it's a pending matter. So someone will say it's obvious that they need to play tomorrow. Yes. The league says the rule says they must play tomorrow, but there's conditions. The first condition is that the two teams must agree. Now the question is, what if the two teams don't agree? Now one can draw a conclusion that if they don't agree, then they would not play.
Because it says here 14.16, ne? Despite any other provision in these rules, should a match be abandoned by the referee due to insufficient illumination from the floodlights, then the remaining minutes of the match will be resumed on a date and at a time venue agreed upon between the participating member clubs immediately upon the abandonment of the match. The agreed date, time, and venue must be within 48 hours, like you are saying, of the time of the match, subject to the approval of the league. Hey, I'm a league Then
and in the very statement that you've read, it says will. It doesn't say shall or must, because that becomes a peremptory provision. Now, a peremptory provision is that it needs to happen. If it does not happen, anything that happens after will be null and void. And in that case, we would not have that condition of pending the approval of the league or having the two teams agree. So I don't know what they're going to argue, because my suspicion is that the league will come and say, but by that time we did not approve it. And these are the conditions. The team Eros will come and say, yeah, but we did not. And remember now, Cape Town Spurs was not party to the game itself. So if the two teams, Cape Town City, sorry.
And I think this point,
if the two teams comes, if the two teams come and say, but we did not agree to play on that match, then we are defeated.
Exactly. And in fact,
I'm not preempting the outcome of the
but now that you are saying this, and I'm trying to interpret the rules now, because 14.17 says if the participating member clubs are not able to reach the agreement on a date and time and venue, or if the agreed date is not suitable to the league, then the league will determine the date, time, and the venue and inform the participating member clubs. So the league can come back and say, last week Thursday was the suitable time.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only defense that they have. As the
I
league.
know
that the rules give us that leeway to agree or to make a determination as to when the match will play.
I know sports law. I no. Pramandla. So when are you making me to enroll? Just to have a knowledge.
We've been talking about this, I don't know for how long. By now, you should be graduating and doing your articles in my office. I don't know, pending your admission. I don't know why you're wasting so much time. Or you want, what is this, prior recognition
Recognition
of
of prior
prior learning?
learning. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we need to give you that.
Yeah, no. RPL.
RPL, yes.
No, but thanks so much, Bromanda. As I know
Okay.
that you assist with other matters that we should soon hear about.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Okay, good. Thanks so much. I think umuntu womthetho ukhulumile. Tina, we don't have anything to say about this one. Let's just wait and see. But I think what this tells you that the playoffs, there could be some serious delay.
Yeah, no, there will be serious delay. The delay of the playoffs means the delay to the start of the league means it can have a spiraling effect on a lot of things. The NFD teams. I mean, the team that, let's just imagine the team that's going to get to the PSL from the playoffs. When are they going to pre-season? So it can really have a negative effect on how preparations is done and all those kinds of things. And there's also issue of TV on the other side and all these things. So it can be a bit of a mess. Hopefully they find a solution very soon. And fortunately, also the playoffs program is not too long. It can be done very, very quickly to finish so that everything is done. We can't have stuff hanging like this. It's just going to be too long.
Yeah.
And also the team that's going to be relegated, they need to start planning.
One thing I can tell you that I foresee a situation where we could be going to court very soon. Because contrary to what I've seen being said, the arbitration is not the final arbiter in this kind of matters.
And the man from Cape Town has got money to go all the way.
Exactly. So and also if you've seen the litigation between the PSL and Cape Town City. I mean, we're coming from the case of FNB, which was settled out of court, the sports pesa thing as well. So you can see here there's been serious issues before. So
one of the tricky things, I was at that match between SuperSport and Aros at Moripe last week. The two guys who scored in the first match were not playing that thing.
So it's not that the generator issue.
No.
Yeah.
So if you're saying it's a completion of what?
So let's wrap. I was in Parliament, but okay.
Wow, good tricky.
Good tricky.
Yeah, the tickets are coming home to us. You see, this is what I call leaders having to account. They must account. For the longest time, we've spoken about the mess that is at SAFA, and then they are there now, they must answer questions. Not so long ago, it was Boxing South Africa. They were mumbling there, not knowing what they're talking about. There was Athletics South Africa, mumbling there, not knowing what they're talking about. Netball South Africa. Now it's SAFA. Let's see how they hold their own against the tough questions that are going to be asked.
Member of Parliament representing Rise Mzansi, Makashule Kana. You know him as a Pagania. He asked Dr. Jordaan if he will stand again for the SAFA presidency, asking him if he will keep his word from 2022 that he won't stand again. And I think let's just play most of these clips and just react to them, including other matters also around the VAR issue as well. I think the Department of Sport, in terms of the pronouncements that have been made by the minister that he's committing 80 million rands.
And he was not even in Parliament. He's running away from answering questions.
And let's hear.
In 2022, you said you will not avail yourself to be re-elected as the president. Are you available? Have you told your members that you are available for election? Are you retracting the statement that you made in 2022?
That is a matter that was discussed with the members. There is no nominations out. There's no one.
Say in 2022 that you are saving your last term?
Where did I say this?
I'm asking if you did say
No.
it. Cannot recall.
No.
You did say it, that this is your last term. But you're available.
I don't know. Members must nominate.
If they nominate, will you avail yourself?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know whether they will nominate or not nominate.
I rest, Chair.
Tate Teni Jordaan, you know this country respects you so much. You are veered in many levels. And I would like to find out, to get an honest answer from you. In your gut feeling, do you have a feeling of having overstayed your welcome as the president of SAFA or in the leadership of SAFA? Do you have that feeling?
President, that's a directe vraag. Sien jy nog kans om aan te gaan?
In any position in a democracy, you cannot give yourself a position. You cannot decide when you stay, when you go. That is the responsibility of our 52 regions, and they will take that decision. It's not for me to say I want to be a president. I never said that to them. They will decide when they want and what the decision that they want to take.
For the 2023, 2024, and 2024 and 2025 financial year, was there any budget allocation from the department for the VAR implementation?
Through your chair, no.
SAFA, in its presentation, they've indicated that for the VAR program, it is only department that has invested money. So my question is, how did you fund VAR when it was not part of the initial budget? Second to that, given the departmental financial constraints, where did you get that money to invest in VAR when there is no decision to implement VAR in line with the approved budget number 1 and in line with the approved APPs? I want to put it to you that VAR was never part of the departmental plans, but rather out of excitement of the minister after seeing the cameras in front of him, after the match of Kaizer Chiefs and I think it's Sundowns, he decided to be creative and commit the department. And that's why I initially wanted the minister to be present in this meeting, because some of his public pronouncements contradicts what the department has already planned for. Where did you get the money and which program was compromised?
It was funded through reprioritization in Program 2 under 2 programs or sub-programs, which is the Sport Federation support and the Big Walk event.
How much have you invested on VAR in this financial year? Or how much have you funded VAR?
Through you, Chair, at this point, there is no funding that has gone out already or paid on VAR. Noting, Chair, what was presented earlier by SAFA, that they still at the process of stages of tendering to actually determine the actual cost thereof. So there is no expenditure to date on VAR.
So my question is, are they lying when they say that DSEC has funded them with money? Hence my question was, how much have you funded it with?
Not funded. In their presentation, they did indicate that they have initiated the processes to a stage of receiving proposals. So as I was saying, Chair, there is an amount after reprioritization which is set aside for this. And the Chief Director was explaining to a question from another member here that initially it was 80 million and it was a projection, but obviously it is being subjected to a process of seeking proposals and adjudication, which will then determine the actual amount.
We've received 2 interested companies, one being international, one being local. I cannot disclose the companies because that tender has not been finalized. That process still has to take place. What I can give you is the average of costs for your understanding for the implementation of VAR. So I'll get to the meat of it. Basically, we as you can see there, the RFP's gone out. It's closed on the 21st of April. We've received already, as I mentioned, some proposals. FIFA is overseeing this whole process. They have to oversee it. They have to assist, or they've decided to assist the South African Football Association in providing as much assistance from a technical point or advisory point. Based on the proposals of both these suppliers or providers, it averages between 8 million to 12 million. And the reason for this is obviously one is priced in euros and the other one is priced in South African rands from the two different suppliers. This covers a 6 weeks extensive training program for match officials as well as instructors and everybody that will be involved, operators to project lead, staff, everybody. This also covers accommodation from that point as well as equipment. The reason for a 6 weeks period condensed is FIFA's request is normally over a 2-year period where it is staggered. And the reason why it's staggered is because every single match official or person that sits behind a VAR desk, that screen, must be licensed. So they go through extensive training, which is basically in a simulator environment. And then they also go through some on-field training, physical on-field training with teams. And that takes you to the licensing of referees as well. So we need licensed VAR people that sit in a room. And then you also need licensed referees, match officials. Now we are at an advantage where we have, on average now, I think we've got about eight match officials that have extensively been trained through FIFA and SAFA, where they've gone out, they've received their licenses, they are licensed officials, they've competed in CAF and FIFA competitions. So there are a level of expertise that's already at our disposal. We also have 3 VAR instructors licensed. I will be the third one that just needs to work my time in, because this is all time-based. You have to do a certain amount of hours, either instructing or operating behind a screen or on the field. So there will be 3 instructors that we will have access to train match officials. The training is over a 6-week period, as I mentioned, 4 to 6 weeks, for 24 match officials.
So it's clear what is happening here, that it also there isn't going to be possibly round 2 as well.
Yeah.
But when you look at the issues that were being discussed, I think the financial situation at SAFA, it was laid bare there. The issues of salaries, the issue of the coach, Raymond Mdaga, if he is being paid less than 30,000 rands, as you have heard there. In fact, the CEO, you heard the CEO admitting that the coach is paid less than 50,000 rands, and the Bafana coach is paid over 1 million rands, and the under 20 coach was not paid a bonus, you know, and I think from how we understand it, the Bafana coach got 10% of the winnings from the AFCON, you know, and from the AFCON bronze medal last year. So I think that amount was at the time was around 47 million rands. So it tells you that there's some serious issues, but we'll have to see, because soon they'll be going back to Parliament.
Yeah. I think they must account. I guess, you know, SAFA's issues are well documented. You know, we know the place is not really one of the best well-run places. Firstly, with Jordaan, I think his conscience must talk to him, man. Yeah, his conscience must talk to him. I think it's time. Let him, you know, he has served this country. You know, they say a good dancer knows when to leave the stage. I think it's about time that Mr. Jordaan, his conscience must talk to him. Live with your with whatever integrity left in you, is still there. We need a new crop of leaders to take our football forward.
Correct.
And over the last while, really, they've not covered themselves in glory. There's been a lot of stuff happening out of SAFA House. The issue of how they are remunerating the junior coaches is quite funny because
they even admitted today that the team traveled by bus when they went on to win a COSAFA title.
Yeah.
And that team was unbeaten at the COSAFA.
Yeah. It's quite funny that elsewhere in the world, junior coaches are like teachers at school. You really need to take care of them, because these are the guys who produce talent for the Bafana Bafana coach or for the senior team. So we can't be treating junior national team coaches like that.
But so, you've just heard Jordaan now. He says there's a smear campaign. And unfortunately, you also work for the Sunday newspapers. You are being quoted there, the 3 Sunday newspapers that are running a campaign. Are you running a campaign?
You know that famous saying that if he's happy, he can go to the nearest police station and report those people who are running a smear campaign against him. I mean, stories which are written, if he's not happy about, he can go to the ombudsman or do whatever he wants to do. If he's not acting on those stories that he feels are not the correct stories about him, then I wouldn't take that thing too much serious. The fact of the matter is that most of the stuff that I personally have written about him are true, that he's in the courts, and his effect is in the courts. So, if he wants to sue, he can sue. If he wants to do whatever he wants to do, he can do. But I'm happy that this process is unfolding in Parliament, in public, so that people must see. They've got a lot to answer for because these are people who are sitting in positions where they are serving the public. This is not a personal fiefdom of anybody. It belongs to me, it belongs to you, it belongs to the guy on the street. So we are interested in Bafana, we're interested in the Springboks, we're interested in the Proteas and everybody else. So if they don't want to account, then they must move. We put people there who can sit in those chairs and account. It's about accounting to the public what we are doing when we are in the office. So it's as simple as that. But I still say that I think going forward, really, knowing what we know, I would be happier or I would rest easier knowing that there's a new leadership in place at SAFA.
Yeah. 22nd June 2022. I think I was with you at the
SAFA elections.
SAFA elections. Senton Convention Center. You've just heard the president. He says he doesn't recall saying. He said this will be his last term.
Yeah, well, I don't blame him for not remembering. I think with age, if you get older, you might have memory lapses and stuff. But he did say it.
Yeah.
He was quoted as saying that, and we can remind him. He said that he's not going to run, and now he's changing a story saying no, he wants to run. I just don't think that he should run for another term. Really, let him step aside, and we get new people to continue doing this.
Yeah, just a penalty shoot. One of the important things that are coming out there, you can hear that the lawmakers there in Parliament, they seem to be totally opposed to the minister committing the department without having followed due processes and budgeting for VAR, because there's a strong feeling that, according to what Member of Parliament, the Honourable Khabo, is saying, that money is needed for more developmental matters than
athletes.
This.
The Olympics are coming. I would rather take that money and help athletes to prepare for the Olympics or major tournaments. And also, I would love to hear what Treasury is going to say about this thing. I don't think Treasury is going to be happy about taking public money to do VAR for professional football in the country. I just don't think it's going to pass that muster. We'll have to see.
So, are you saying we don't need VAR?
No, we need it. We definitely need it. I'm for VAR.
But the money must not come from government.
Professional football must get the act together.
So what you're saying, Zizo, is that money, yes, we need VAR, but it doesn't really need to come from government, that money.
No. It doesn't need to come from government. Government have got programs that they must be running with that money. If he's taking that money from the ministry's coffers, what was it budgeted for initially? You know, I don't remember the Minister of Finance.
Because I mean, when you look, even the money that is allocated to federations on an annual basis, it's less than 10 million.
It's less than that. So you rather give federations money to run programs that they have than put VAR, which I will repeat the same. We need VAR in South Africa because we can't be left behind with these technological advancements. But the money must come from somewhere, not from government.
Very interesting. And I think we are going to still hear a lot about this. But the commitment has also been made that SAFA will be returning to Parliament. But it's just a matter of when. So I think that's it for now. Zizo, we come back again next week, and next week we'll be talking more Club World Cup, COSAFA Cup. There's a Bafana team that is playing at the COSAFA Cup. We'll have more on that, and also would have seen also more from the international friendlies.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. Yeah, it's busy. I was thinking that the Bedway Premiership is finished, we're going to rest, but I think we're moving into another gear.
Well, on that note, just the two of us, we say,
Jambo Africa.